Gang, the coronavirus is sweeping the nation, it's planted its roots, and most scientists are saying it's not going anywhere for a while. Those nasal swab tests are hard to get and they're very expensive. Well, our friends at ProResults are doing rapid COVID-19 antibody testing to let you know if you have had the virus. They take cash or credit, no insurance needed, no doctor appointment required, and you get the results in 15 minutes. Gang, I've taken the test 2 times. It's painless, it's quick, it's easy. And How Did I Get Here is partnered with ProResults, offering you 15% off COVID-19 antibody testing. Just go to ProResultsAustin.com/HDIGH. That's ProResultsAustin.com/HDIGH for 15% off COVID-19 antibody tests. Go get your tests. Let's get down. Gang, we've been under quarantine for quite a while now, and it's been difficult to get together with your bandmates to do your rehearsing. If you're in a band here in Austin, makes it very difficult. Well, gang, I have great news for you. Space rehearsal and recording is open again. They are taking extreme measures to make sure that your safety is taken care of. Masks are required. You are to bring your own microphones, but otherwise, space rehearsal and recording is open. Call them at 512-448-9518 or go to spaceatx.com. That's 512-448-9518 or spaceatx.com. Space rehearsal and recording.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right, hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys are all doing okay. I hope you're feeling healthy. I hope you're feeling sane. It was a crazy weekend. I didn't talk about this on yesterday's intro because I did yesterday's intro on Saturday afternoon when I hadn't watched any news or anything. So a lot really went down this weekend, man. There was a lot of violence in the protests. I started reading a little bit about it. I still don't know a lot about it. That's disappointing, disheartening, sad. I don't want to see violence and people getting shot. There was a guy that was shot here in Austin at one of the protests. I don't know a lot about it, but that did happen. I think he was killed. Anyway, terrible news all weekend. Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac passed away. Now, I have to be honest, I don't really know a lot about Peter Green. Like, it's funny because Fleetwood Mac has so many, like, eras. Like, there's the Peter Green, then there's the Bob Welch, then there's the Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, which is the one that most of us just kind of, like, know all that stuff, you know. But we don't really know this Peter Green era, or at least I don't. I know a lot of my guitar jamming friends are big fans of Peter Green. Like, he's their guy. Anyway, I think I should probably delve into some Fleetwood Mac and get into it. Find out what that early Fleetwood Mac was all about. You guys with me? See what Peter Green was all about. Check him out now. Passed away. Find out who he is. Know what I mean? Regis Philbin passed away. And that was a really big news story. I didn't realize, like, I guess he was like one of the most famous people in the world. So Regis is gone. Sad news. Olivia de Havilland, I think, died. So yeah, it was a crazy weekend here in America. Hopefully you are doing all right and keeping it together. I have a great show for you guys today. Now, you know it's coming up on 9 years of this show. And on August 10th, 2011, I released episode 1 of How Did I Get Here? And my guest was the amazing Suzanna Choffel. Now, since that episode, Suzanna's my guest today, by the way. She's back on the show. You know Suzanna, she's a great musician. She plays a lot of big shows. She's got a new song out, Good Problems. Amazing song. You might hear her on Sun Radio weekdays from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Be sure to check her out. She spins great songs, and she does have one of the coolest voices in all of radio. Anyway, so back when Suzanna was on the show for the first time, August 10th, 2011, she hadn't even moved to New York yet. She hadn't done The Voice yet. She hadn't had her kids yet. She hadn't moved back to Texas yet. She hadn't become a DJ yet. Like, so much stuff has gone down over the last, 9 years for Suzanna Choffel. She's been on the show many, many times since then. Many live shows. She's been back on the show to talk about whatever it is that she's doing. She's put out records since she was first on the show. She put out that record Archer in 2013, an amazing record called Hello Goodbye. And now she's put out these singles. She put out Song for the Mamas last year, and she just put out this brand new single, Good Problems, which is an amazing song that deals with what it's like dealing with the health insurance industry and that whole racket. She has 2 kids, and she wrote it in between her kids, in between having her kids, and she basically wrote it after her experience with having her child Lulu, and what it's like to have to deal and go up against this kind of industry. But anyway, Suzanna Choffel, my very first guest on the show, and we're coming up on 9 years since she was on the show. And I talked to her. She's in Washington State in an undisclosed location, talking to me from a closet. So now for I don't know how many times she's been on the show. Many, many, many times. Please enjoy my conversation with my dear friend and the very, very first guest of How Did I Get Here? This is Suzanna Choffel. Let's get down.
I got good problems, if that's what you wanna call them. Not even worthy of solving. I got a sweet disposition, rose-colored vision.
Slightly.
You look good in there.
Oh,
So
thanks. Yeah.
How long are you up there?
The closet suits me. We are up here for another 2 weeks. We just decided, screw it. I mean, we come up here every summer, and we were on the fence with the pandemic, but with the kids and everything and the crazy heat, I was just losing my mind. And so Paul was like, let's go. I mean, his mom was getting really lonely too. She's been alone. She's been quarantined for, months and months. So we all got tested before we came, and the flight was actually very, it seemed very chill. There weren't that many people on it. Everyone was wearing masks. Everything was very enforced. And so we felt pretty good about it. And we've just been chilling here, just kind of going on hikes to the beach every day. I mean, it's not like we're going anywhere really or doing anything. We're just enjoying the nicer weather. And I'm getting some help from his mother-in-law, from my mother-in-law, from his mom, who's amazing. So it's giving us a little bit of a reprieve from the craziness back in Tejas. So
Are you able to do your radio show from there?
I am. That's what's crazy. It's all
so
smoky here.
awesome.
I know. I brought my equipment with me, and I did it. I've done it the last 2 years. I was doing it last year. I don't know if I was with Sun Radio the year before, but that's what's amazing. Mark Murray, he goes on the road sometimes. He's got like a camper or something, and he does his show from the road. It's kind of the brilliance of radio. I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but anyway, yeah, we can take our job with us. So,
Dude, that's awesome though. Mm-hmm. Man, we haven't talked since you've been doing that. Like how it really suits you.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's really fun. It's funny. It's like I'm constantly kind of learning the ropes. I sometimes feel like a total goober. Other days I feel like, yeah, man, I sound so good and smooth and
You
whatever.
do sound smooth. You have like a cool, like the nighttime rock radio lady voice. That's a cool
Yes.
voice, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. Like Loris Lowe.
Like a Loris Lowe.
Yeah, she's got that cool
Yeah.
thing. Another DJ who kind of I feel like has a really nice voice is she's not nighttime, she's daytime, but Susan Castle, KUTX. I love her voice. So anyway, those are my heroes. I try to aspire to be like them, and it's fun. It's fun. I get to I think the coolest part about it is getting to insert my influence, like I'm not like the program director or anything, but I get to, basically tell him constantly, like, you should be playing this person, you should be playing this person, and so it's really fun to kind of get to like advocate for artists, so.
Yeah. What that's a good question, because what is your, because that DJ and KUTX still have DJs whose what they play outside of the playlist, if there is such a thing, or what they choose from the playlist suits their character.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I could see Kelly McWee playing some different tunes than you would. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
What do you think you bring to that Sun Radio family?
I think that I have offered a little bit more of. I try to bring them a little bit more urban R&B. We've traditionally been kind of a little bit more steered towards Americana. You know, we try to play everything, you know, all kinds of good stuff. And I feel like we have a pretty diverse playlist in general, but I try to bring them stuff that maybe they're not super aware of, that's on the edge of like soul, pop, Americana. And then also just turning them on to like local artists that they might not know of. You know, there's so many, as you have shown in your shows, there are so many circles inside the Austin music world that don't always intersect. And a lot of the things that end up getting highlighted a lot of the times are just like, you know, just a few little things when there's so much more diversity underneath the surface, you know. And I think everybody is doing that right now with the Black Lives Matter movement and everything. And you've done a great job of reaching out and sourcing a lot of voices that don't traditionally get heard in Austin.
Thanks.
And I think that's what, yeah, totally. Hats off to you, man. I've been following all of your podcast, and really kudos to you for reaching out to those folks. And I'm kind of trying to do similar things with the music, like seeking out some artists whose voices may not have normally been heard as much. So yeah, we're trying to dig a little deep. I think everybody's trying to dig a little deeper right now, and you know.
But that's like legitimately your roots. Like you hear it
totally
in your music a lot, and I know that. I mean, I don't know if you told me this, but maybe you have. But that you grew up on like 90s R&B and stuff like that.
Oh, totally.
And,
yeah. That's my jam. So it's not like it's phony or fake. It's not like I'm like, oh, we should be playing R&B. It's like, oh my God, you got to be playing this jam from Anderson .Paak. It is the bomb, you know, like I love R&B. That is my roots, you know? So, so that's, I feel like what I kind of try to bring to the table there is just sort of, and I'm also always trying to advocate for more female voices on the radio. You know, it traditionally, like even at our station, which I feel like we do a really good job of it, it's like sometimes I'll go through and be like, oh my God, we've had like, you know, 2 female artists this hour and like, you know, 12 male artists. You know, we've got to change that. We're trying to, you know, get better at that too. So anyway, yeah, but it's a fun gig. It's a fun day gig. So I like to say it's a great day job. So you do get to influence stuff. And there's definitely a playlist, but you also, because it seems like you guys, especially like when you do vinyl and stuff, no one tells you what to play then, do they? No one tells me what to play. No. Yeah. We get to choose our own stuff, which is awesome. So yeah, there's like sort of we have music meetings, you know, where we talk about and discuss, like we kind of vote on things, you know, so that everybody gets a voice at the table. But yeah, you know, we just, it's nice to get to. I love the vinyl show's really fun because I kind of get to be like a little bit way out in left field sometimes, you know, and be like, check out this random track from whoever, you know. So, but
can I ask you a random weird question? Do you know how to scratch?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I've tried my hand at it, but I'm not.
Doesn't that seem like something like David one day would like show up with turntables, and you didn't know this, but he's like a master DJ?
Totally.
Like scratcher?
Yeah. Yeah. He probably like has this secret gig we don't know about in LA. Like it's some like seedy downtown, like, I don't know, disco or something. And disco David. Yeah. So yeah, that
Disco
guy.
Ball Vide.
Disco Ball Vide. I love that guy. Oh my God.
Yeah, what a great talent. I want to talk about some of your work. You know what I didn't know? Can I tell you this? I didn't know that your album Hello Goodbye, the title of it was an homage to that song.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Yeah. You like that song? I
love that song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too. It's from my favorite, that's my favorite Beatle album. What's your favorite Beatle album?
Oh man. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't know. I go all over the map. It kind of changes from day to day. But okay, so I think my favorite childhood memories of Beatle album would be rooted in Sergeant Pepper's, because we had it on like cassette and we used to play it like on road trips all the time. And I think because it was kind of silly and fun and playful, like as a kid, I really loved that one. But I think as I got older, I sort of got more into well, the White Album is pretty epic, but I would say probably, I don't know. My mom had Rubber Soul on vinyl, and that was sort of like the heart and soul of Beatles for me, or something. Was, you know,
Yeah,
I love Rubber Soul. So
me too.
yeah,
I love them all, man.
I love them all. They're
But-
all different. You know, they're all so amazing.
Yeah, and the White Album, which is weird, it's a mess, but to
It is.
me, it's like a perfect album. It has
Exactly.
like what do you want, a country song? You got
Yeah.
it. We want
It's like
some weird like ballad
they
at
threw
the
in
end
all
of it.
their weird B-sides or something. It was like, you know, they're like, but they were all amazing B-sides, you
Yeah.
know, like, let's just throw in all this random stuff. We're the Beatles. We can do it, you know, so.
Dude, have you ever been in a
Yeah.
band, like a band outside of the what was the band at Momo's? Why am I drawing a blank on that?
The Coveters?
The Coveters.
Yeah, that was pretty much the only band I've been in, other than, well, when I was in college back in Santa Fe. I went to music school in Santa Fe, and I had a band called Mud Luscious and the Blood, and we were kind of like, I don't know, folk jazz punk or something, you know, something that you would do in college. And let's just throw all these things together and be cool, or try to be cool. And I was in another band called Liquid Stereo Project, which was like a hip hop kind of like funk band in San Marcos, back in San Marcos days. And the Humble. I was in a bunch of bands. What am I thinking? I'm like, no, I'm never in a band. I've been in like a bunch of bands. It's just been a long time. I miss being in a band. I miss like just kind of showing up and being the singer, and like, I don't know. There's something different about it, rather than being the one in control, the singer songwriter with the guitar who has to make all the calls.
It's the difference between
You know.
being in a band or having a band.
Yes, totally.
And then
Big
like
difference.
having a band is like a juggling thing. You were doing that weekly thing at Sea Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have when you play those shows, is that the same people, or is it like a different drummer this week
It was generally the same people, but every now and then Kyle had to bail on me for Kyle Thompson had to bail on me for, which I totally don't blame him. Super nice paying private gig, you know. Sea Boys, we were playing for tips. So I never made it adamant that they had to be there. So every now and then, but Johnny V was pretty much consistent, and Ethan Kennedy, my guitar player. And then sometimes Jay Styles would show up on the, cause they have an organ there, which is so cool. So he would just sit on that. But, that was so fun. I'm so bummed it had to come to an end, because of COVID. Cause it was kind of the first time I had like done a residency, God, maybe since like Momo's days, you know. It had been a long time since I'd done like a consistent weekly gig, and I did it to kind of challenge myself to get the band tighter, to have like get new material, you know, maybe learn a few new fun covers. And it was so fun, but alas, you know. So, and Sea Boys is just such a cool hang too.
It is. Okay, before we get into everything like this, because there is some stuff I want to ask you about the Sea Boys thing in the band, is that on August 10th is the 9th anniversary of the first episode dropping, when you were my first guest. I know.
Awesome.
And think about that. When we sat down, you hadn't moved to New York yet.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Like all the stuff that has gone down and sort of like the massive life changes.
I feel like I've become like, 5 different people in the last like 10 years. It's crazy.
It's
Wow.
true.
There was The Voice, there was New York, there was moving back to Austin, babies, kids, craziness, DJ. Yeah, thank you for making me feel better about my life. I feel like I've actually had some shit going on the past 10 years. So no. Yeah. Crazy.
You know what I did? I switched direction. I used to face that way when I did the interviews, and I face this way. So I've got that change.
I was going to say there's something different about your setup. I like it though. It looks good. Suits you. How are you doing in the pandemic? Are you feeling lonely? Or are you feeling okay?
I feel lonely, and I'm
Yeah.
feeling okay.
Yeah.
I've had some
Same.
stuff go down, like my dog. We had to put our dog down, Taylor. The last
What?
guy left, the Doberman guy. Yeah,
Oh,
like a few
Johnny.
weeks ago, and that's been actually very
I'm
rough
so
because we had him for
sorry.
14 years.
That's a long run.
It's a long
Yeah.
run. Anyway, so
Oh,
yeah, it's been weird. Also, I've been eating a lot. I was
same.
eating my stress. No, dude,
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of you. You're not.
Well, I'm breastfeeding, which means I'm burning those calories. I think it's the only thing that's saving my figure right now. If I still wasn't nursing, I'd probably be like 300 pounds. Anyway, go ahead.
I was thinking
You look
about it.
good. You're
Well,
Cuban.
you're looking
Got
at me
that
from
Cuban
like
look.
the shoulders up.
You
from-
pan down and it's just like this huge belly.
It's,
Like,
it's like the grimace from McDonald's.
but you at least eat well, right? You eat pretty
That's
healthy.
the thing
I
is
feel.
I was eating a lot of cookies.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not joking. Like I was going through a couple boxes a week.
Dude, stress eating is no joke, man. I definitely eat my stress. When I feel like I don't know what to do over something, I just go to the kitchen and I start eating, you know? So, yeah. I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Do you have to explain stuff to Lulu about what's going on right now?
She's pretty like, I feel like I'm really lucky with my young kids right now. I feel like it's harder when you have kids who are like, I don't know, like 8 through 15 or something. I feel like those are the most challenging ages right now or something. But because the little ones, all they've really known for most of their life, like you're kind of their world. Like Lulu had just started going to preschool when this started. She didn't get to like finish out her year, but she's supposed to start kindergarten this fall, which is sad because it's like I don't think it's going to happen, or I don't know what's going to happen. But she misses her friends. Like she misses seeing some of her friends. We've kind of been sort of teaming, as they say, with one other family, like a dear friend on our block who is very safe too. We've kind of made this pact, you know, it's like we're both
Yeah.
really safe. And so we see each other. Otherwise we'll go insane with our, you know, kids not seeing people. But Lulu is pretty, you know, she's so cute now. She's really like, she's become super germ conscious. You know, she's like, if she touches something when we're out and about and she'll be like, Mommy, I touched something. So now I need to sanitize my hands before I like, touch my face. And I'm like, good job, kids. So these poor kids are going to be like germaphobes, but you know, we're like, anyway, but maybe it's a good thing. We're teaching them how to be very clean and sanitized. But she's pretty great because her day consists mostly of just Mommy hanging out with her and making sure she has a great time, you know. And Daddy Paul's great too. He takes her down to the park and they go have their time. They hang out. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I bet that's also a
Yep.
bit of a relief for you as well.
It is. Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah. No, it's nice. She's also like, I feel really lucky that I have a kid who, she's one of those kids who I was like this too when I was a kid, very good at entertaining themselves. Like she'll just stay in her room and play with her toys like all day. She's social, but I think she has a lot of Paul's introverted tendencies. A lot of people don't know. They think he's extroverted because he has, you know, he had Momos and all these clubs and stuff, but he actually prefers to just be by himself. And Lulu's kind of the same way, I think. So it works out. Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this. Since you, in the last 10 years, have taken on several different jobs, that you, I don't know, is music, what's your view on music and a career in music? Like, what does that look like to you now, as opposed to like 9 years ago when we talked?
This is a great question. You know, I'm not quite sure. And maybe I would have a different answer too if the pandemic wasn't going on, because I'd probably still be pretty like actively trying to pursue my live music career. See, I feel like there's like in music, you know, there's like your live music career, and then there's like your recorded studio behind the scenes trying to get sync and licensing and this and that, right? There's like, it's like they're two different hats. And especially as Austin musicians, I think we're very like caught up in the two personas, because Austin is so live music based and focused, and it's like, if you're not playing out, then like, who the hell are you? Even though you could be doing some like badass things behind the scenes that nobody even knows about, so actually making money. So I think like the way I'm thinking of my music career right now is, I am trying to focus on, it's very hard because I'm very distracted by motherhood, but I'm trying to focus on writing and recording as much as possible. Almost even just as like documentation. Like I feel like since I've become a parent, I've really had this hyper awareness of wanting my children to like experience my art after I leave this world. And so I really want to document it, not even just to like release albums and make money and be a part of the music machine or whatever, but really just as a form of like capturing art in a capsule for them. So they have these memories, these like audio memories of mother, of mom. And so I feel like motherhood has definitely shifted my view of like the purpose of my music making. But yeah, as far as like music career goes, man, I don't know. It's like, it's so hard to make it as a musician. I think I don't want to say I've given up, but I have definitely given up some part of that dream of like, worldwide recognition or whatnot. And I've had bits and pieces of it here and there, and it's amazing and it's great. But I think for me right now, it's kind of like, about getting back to the essence of just like writing great songs, recording them, making great music, putting it out. If something great happens with it, awesome. But my kids are kind of my world now. So it's very hard to go like 110% with the music career, So anyway, I don't know if that's a lame answer or not.
It's not a lame answer. I think that there are things in life, like there's a part of your life where you do this thing with the nose to the grindstone and you're reaching for a brass ring. You're going on singing shows. You're in a band in Iowa and it's freezing. Yeah. And you're playing for 3 people and then you freak out. Folks, okay, Suzanna has been coming on the show for so long that she now has an alarm that goes off if I talk too much. So,
Johnny's been talking for no. No. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I killed your train.
No, but like, there's only kind of so long you can sustain it.
I know
that level of. And if it doesn't happen all the way, you can't sustain that level of rejection and disappointment on a constant level and still exist. Exactly.
That's really well said. Yeah, you can't sustain the disappointment.
You just can't. I mean, there's something about when you're a kid, it's just like pew, 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 pew. You're like disappointment proof.
Totally. You're like, bullets are
it
just
feeds your fire.
Yeah. It totally does. It totally does. And then as you get older, it's like, ugh, this sucks. Like, why am I working so hard to achieve so little, So I know. I think that's the thing. As I get older, it just seems like it just takes. So I look at my friends who don't have kids, who are musicians, and I'm in awe of what they're doing. And I get a little jealous sometimes. I get a little envious. And then I remind myself, it's kind of like, I mean, when you do choose to have kids, you are definitely saying goodbye to some things, or at least like you have to delay them a little bit. You're not going to be able to like work on them 100%. You can still work on them, but it's not going to be like it was before. It just never will be. And it's like, I've almost feel like I've traded one kind of happiness for another. I try to look at it like that. Like, it's not like my kids bring me great joy. My music brings me great joy. So who cares which one I'm working on? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I may as well work on the ones that are going to hopefully grow up and do great things as well, So anyway.
Yeah, I see. So this is what I was going to lead into, is that your explanation of your music being a document for your kids and just being like an art form thing has, at least in your last 2 singles, really come through. But not only that, there is like this very... you know how like when someone becomes a Jedi, You know what I mean? Like you're just a little cooler. You don't have to
Aw.
get there so fast. You don't have so much to prove, but you actually have something to say. Not that you didn't have something to say before, but I feel like
No.
like these last two songs are extremely powerful.
Oh, thank you, Johnny.
And statements, one on society and how things aren't working very well, but still it's not a preachy,
Yeah.
and it's not something that you couldn't listen to 20 years from now and still enjoy, get something out of it in the times. So yeah, congratulations. These songs are amazing, and Good
Thank
Problems.
you.
I was really moved by it.
Thank you, Johnny. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's talk about this.
Okay.
This comes from your motherhood, your experience
Yeah.
as a mom. You wrote that song in between the babies.
Yes. Good Problems was in between baby one and baby two. Yes, it was. Yeah. Both of those songs were actually, it's funny. Yeah. So Good Problems, I wrote, I think I remember specifically when I went to the pen and paper with that first line was watching some of the newsreel about about healthcare in America, and how, like, I think I read some piece particularly about women's health rights, and was saying, like, it's just like crazy that the people making these decisions for women's health, it's usually like a bunch of old white dudes, like, just sitting around a table being like, yep, no abortion, no this, no that. It's like, it's just crazy to me. It's mind boggling, that, like, these few people get to make these decisions that affect, people who have such a completely different experience in life than them, and access to completely different things. And then it just started, I was everything, immigration, you could apply it to so many different things. Right. And that's kind of what I try to speak to in the song. And at the end of the day, what it kind of boiled down to was I was experiencing a ton of grossness from the health insurance, health insurance after having my first baby. I had to go to the hospital with Lulu. I had her at a birthing center, but she had like a difficulty after she was born. So she was in the NICU. And we get this bill from the hospital that's like, $90,000. And I remember just laughing. I was like, oh my God, like, how does anybody pay this? I don't even understand. Like, I remember calling them to talk about it. And they're like, so if you put it on a credit card, we can boil it down to about 40,000, and I'm like, oh, sure. I have a credit card sitting around with $40,000 on it, Anyway, this is getting very specific. But what it boils down to is, even through all that, through all the aches and pains of trying to figure out what we owed and how to pay it and how we were going to get by, my problems were good problems, because I can go to a hospital and have my child have incredible health care, right? Like, my child was fine. And there are countries and there are places and there are people in this country, there are people who don't have the ability to even access that, And so it was basically trying to say, like, I have problems. Yes, they're good problems. They're barely even worthy about talking about. But for a lot of people, these problems are very, very real. And anyway, but I like to approach anything I do that's like, I very rarely write like a political song. I'm more of like a love singer-songwriter, a very personal singer-songwriter. This was like kind of, I feel like, the first like social political song I'd written in a while. And I like to approach him like Bob Marley does, with a joyful, like, you almost don't know that, like, what he's singing about.
Yeah.
And, like, until you start listening to his lyrics, you're like,
yeah.
oh, this is just like the coolest, whatever,
Yeah.
head bobbing song. And they're like, oh shit, he's like really like talking about some stuff here, So I think that's the best way to approach it, because it gets people, it like sort of subconsciously sinks in, So anyway.
That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is. But it's not if you're funky, Johnny, you just pick up the guitar and you just play a little funk. No, I'm kidding. But no, those players really brought it out too. I did it with Gordy Quist over at George Reef's old place, the finishing school. It was my first time being there. I never got to work there when George was around, unfortunately, but it was really lovely, because Gordy just basically put together a band for me, and I showed up. It wasn't my normal guys. But in that sense, it was kind of nice too, because the song was very new, and I just walked in and was like, okay, this is the song. And they all just like put their thing on it. And it was incredible. It just like sort of blossomed in the studio, which was really fun. So
That's super fun.
yeah.
How did you do Hello Goodbye? Because you did that at Boyle's place.
Yeah. That one was more like a record where I
Yeah.
feel like, man, we put so many hours into that record. Boyle was just a mad genius working on it day and night. I had lots of players coming in. David came in, Charlie Sexton came in, Andrew Trube of the Greyhounds. I had all these different like guitar players that I wanted on it. JJ Johnson came in. He was like my dream drummer at the time and just happened to be free for like 5 days. So I got him on it. Brad Hauser, all the cool cats.
You
so
know,
it was, yeah.
Sorry not to interrupt you,
fine.
but Hauser and JJ on that record really make a badass fucking
Aren't they good?
rhythm
I know.
section. Yeah.
They're so good. I know when I listen to that album, I'm really proud of the groove on it. You know, it's just like that's what I wanted it to like really showcase was the groove. And I would love to make an album again like that, but man, it's expensive and it's hard.
It is expensive and it's hard.
I know. That's the main thing. It's expensive. It's not that hard. I would, in a heartbeat, if I had the money, I would just call Boyle again. I love Boyle. I love working with him. He's crazy. He's very opinionated.
Mm-hmm.
He's, but he, at the end of the day, I think he pushed me to do some things that I wouldn't normally have done and like kind of take some risks, so to, you know, say on certain things that I wanted to sort of sit in my normal thing on. And he was like, no. What if we like flipped that and did this? And, you know, and yeah, I love Boyle. He's a great dude.
Yeah,
So,
he is a great dude.
yeah. And so talented.
So talented.
God, I know. I would leave and he would like, you know, noodle around, you know, I'd come back the next day and he had put some incredible like keyboard thing on it where I was like, what the hell? Like, how did you even think of that? So, yeah.
What about working with David?
We've actually talked about, we were actually right before this dang pandemic started, talking about me going out to Sonic Ranch and making an album together, but it didn't happen. And he was also tied up with the Fiona Apple project. And so he couldn't do that. But he's kind of my next, I think, album is probably going to be with David. It's been a long time in the coming. He was going to maybe do Hello Goodbye. He was the original idea, but then I don't know, something didn't work at the time. I can't even remember, but Boyle, I had always wanted to work with too. And I think Boyle just fought really hard and was like, I want to do your album. So, David though, and I talk about it constantly. So it's going to happen at some point. So
That Fiona Apple album is amazing.
it is.
Yeah, it's really
so
great.
percussive. It's so like, I don't know. It feels like a percussion album, you know, it's incredible.
So Susanna, are you recording these songs on your own? What is your recording situation on your own?
So
that
those
you're
two
writing?
songs that I released, those two singles.
No,
I
I
just
mean like the
recorded-
songs that you're writing now.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm just laying them down. And
That's
that's
right.
another thing I'm actually playing around with is what if I just release some stuff that was totally self-produced and self-recorded? You know, I actually know my way around the studio fairly well. I actually went to school for recording and production. And so I have some of that knowledge still stored up in the brain. So I'm trying to pull together my studio. I finally got like a really good recording mic. And I am trying not to limit myself in thinking like, I can't do this. I can't produce my own stuff because I totally can. I just have to sit down and make it happen. And I'm writing a ton right now. That's the amazing thing. I feel like I've gained a lot of inspiration out of this time that we're going through, you know, and have been writing just little bits and pieces here and there. I need to sit down and focus them. And I'm thinking about recording a little just EP or something to release probably not this year. It's probably not feasible, but early next year to ride me through until I can work with David or the next great producer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So speaking of the next great producers, do you ever produce? Has anyone ever asked you to produce their record?
No, I would love to though. I would love to produce. That's kind of one of my long-term dreams. I feel like, Yeah. And that's kind of why I want to try my hand at producing my own. You know, I used to produce my own stuff. It's funny. I say that I haven't, but it's like technically I kind of produced like my very first demo in college, you know, to hand out to people. Like I had this karaoke machine that was called like the Song Star. And so it had, you know, the dual cassettes, and I would literally record my guitar, then put the other tape in, then record my voice, then layer my Casio keyboard. Then, you know, like, and I totally did this cool little funky, I still have it somewhere, you know, I'll release it someday for $1 million. I just have these old school analog recordings of myself overdubbing myself, and it was super fun. I loved it.
Man, yeah, I think that would be incredible to hear from you. Like some kind of weird
thanks,
homemade album.
Yeah. I'm going to make it happen, Johnny.
All right.
You'll be the first to hear it.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe I can have you sing on it.
Okay.
Okay. What are you working on?
I've been recording, man. I recorded a song with, you know, Eric Harrison.
I know that name. How do I know that name? Tell me who he is.
He's in the band Mid-Century, but he also has a studio. And
I know
he
the band
produces stuff.
Okay, cool.
I recorded a song with them. I need to get it mastered. I'll send it to you. See if you like it. It's an older song.
I loved your last name.
And then me and Gabe Rhodes have been writing songs over Zoom, and then we recorded one of them, and that one just we need to finish mixing it, and then we have another song we need to record.
Awesome. I love Gabe.
Yeah, me
I'd love
too.
to hear y'all two together. That's great.
But yeah, I've done some stuff in here since it's been. It's hard for me to work under when I'm anxious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like this kind of anxiety, like the end of the world anxiety.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
I mean,
No, it's not the best working environment.
no.
I know. It's so hard. I feel like the biggest, like, this looming anxiety is basically the fact that, like, we don't know what's going to happen next, sort of thing. You know, it's like we can't make plans, right? It's the weirdest thing. It's like we can't plan our futures right now. It's very bizarre. And that's very, like, a human thing, I think, is to want to think about the future and plan for the future.
Yeah.
I think we're probably the only creature on earth that does that, you know? And so I think it's like very hard for us to to get past that need, that want to plan something. So, yeah.
Can we go back to the last subject?
Yeah.
Real quick.
I can't even remember what it was.
What do you mean? It had to do with recording at home and being a producer and people asking you to produce. I have always I get bummed out that I don't know why this is, but there aren't more females in the technical side of music.
Yep.
There's
That's been a big discussion lately.
When you went to that school, were you the only woman in your class?
Surprisingly not. I think the class that I was in, like the graduating class, had one of the highest female percentages. Now, still, that was probably, I'm thinking there were probably 3 other girls in my classes. This was a very small art school in Santa Fe. So let's see, if the class was like 20 kids, there were probably 3 other girls in it besides me. So yes, it was definitely fewer than the males, but I was not the only one. And I agree. I think this needs to change. And that's actually one of the reasons why I want to step up to the plate. Cause I'm like, it's funny. It's like every time I think of all these producers to produce my album, they're all men, you know? And it's like, it's fine. Like, I love them all. They're talented. I have no problem with them being men, but it is kind of funny that, like, I don't go, oh, there's that girl there. You know, it's like, I can't think of anyone. I remember, I think Tamika posted about this recently. She was like, you know, where are the female producers in this town? Angel M, like, you know, she's kind of the only one that, like, I can think of in our circle, at least. I'm sure there's others, you know, in different circles that I'm not aware of. But Alicia Keys is actually trying to bring awareness to this. She's kind of started this, like, women. I can't remember the name of her group right now.
Angel did something with her.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She posted it. It was awesome. Yeah, it was incredible. She worked with all these badass female producers and engineers, and they came together to create something. And I think that this is something that definitely needs to change. I think we're going to see a definite shift of it. I feel like I'm starting to see these young girls, singer-songwriters who are kind of producing their own stuff, and that's kind of cool to see. Like here and there, I'm starting to see that, and I'm like, I think there's going to be a shift. It's coming, but I would love to be a part of that shift, and I would love to produce for other young women coming up in the scene, you know, so I need to get better at my chops so that I can make that happen. So
It's weird. It seems like someone would have asked you.
well, I don't know. I mean, the past few years I've kind of been bogged down a little. I feel like I'm not as out there, you know. I've been in mamahood. I think maybe if I had not had kids, perhaps I would have produced something for someone by now. And I don't put myself out there as a producer, but like I said, I would love to. There's times where I hear like something from a young songwriter or something, and I'm like, oh my God, if I could get that into the studio, I have so many great ideas, you know. Rachel Loy, do you know Rachel Loy? She's a great producer. She produces out in Nashville.
Right.
We'd actually talked about working together before. I sent her some of my stuff to maybe work on. It didn't pan out at the time, you know, and but I think they're maybe moving back to Austin soon. And so I might reach out to her and start working with her because she's a badass. She's got like some really great producing skills. So
Yeah.
and not to mention bass skills. So bass
skills.
bass
You
skills.
play it up high.
That's my
I do the thumb.
You do the thumb. You're the James Jamerson. Nice.
What young female artists have you heard that you like lately?
Oh man, so many. Well, like on the worldwide scene, I'm a huge Phoebe Bridgers fan. I got really into Phoebe Bridgers lately. Her latest album, Punisher, is breathtaking. She's like a huge Elliott Smith influenced, just crazy talented. Her voice and her last album, she like primarily played baritone guitar on, which totally made me want to bust. I have a baritone too, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to start playing my baritone now. But her lyrics are so cool. You dig her, I think. And who else? I'm trying to think. Okay, in the Austin scene, there's someone who I'm blanking on right now. Well, it's funny because I feel like the younger thing is funny. Like I feel like there's girls that are like 10 years younger than me and then like 20 years younger than me. Maybe in the 10-year younger thing, I am really digging. Do you know Sydney Wright?
Love Sydney Wright.
Yeah, she does a lot of cool. She's one who I feel like she could self-produce her own stuff because she's very talented with like the technical stuff, you know, and she does all the looping and different things.
I got to watch her do a tune for that artist development program album that we did out at the Bubble.
Yeah.
But I got to watch her put that tune together and just kind of sit across in a chair watching her do that. Yeah. And she is totally. She's magic, man. Yeah, she's super rad. She's got something special. So I dig her. I'm of course blanking right now on a million others. There's a lot of young artists I listen to. I try to stay hip, man. I think that's the cool part about being a DJ is that you kind of like, I'm really glad I'm a DJ right now because it forces me to stay hip to what's going on everywhere in every little scene. I've got like my Bandcamp app and my Spotify and this and that. And I'm just constantly like, okay, what's new? I don't want to just stay in this like older music world. I want to digress from that. So I try to keep it fresh, but it's hard. There's so much music out there. You're always going to miss some stuff, you know? So yeah. Well, yeah. And also like I heard someone talking about this the other day and it might've been someone like Todd Rundgren or something, but he was saying like it used to have to climb this ladder to do stuff in the world. And now it just kind of fell down and like everyone is kind of playing with the same deck. Yep. You know, exactly. That's a great visual. Yeah, totally. There used to be a ladder and now it's like, it's not there anymore. Yeah. That's what it does feel like that. Oh, Erica Michelle. She's another young songwriter in town who I really dig. Ray Prim turned me onto her. He produced her last album. You know her? Yeah. And she canceled the podcast and never rescheduled. Oh, no. All right. Well, she'll never work in this town again. I'll have to wring her neck for that. She is a nurse, so she might be like under a lot of stress right now. I'm glad you said that.
give her a little bit of slack because she's an essential worker right now. She's a nurse, so my hat's off to her. But who
I'm
knows?
glad you said that because I was secretly angry.
Yeah. I mean, you can still be angry at her, but you might need her one day, Johnny. Anyway,
No, I
I'm
liked what Ray did with her. That's another guy that how about that guy? I mean, he has blossomed into just this powerhouse songwriter, producer.
I know, and he never stops. He every time he turns around, he's like, "Hey, Suzanna," or he calls me Wheezy. He's like, "Wheezy, I got another album for you. I'm dropping another album next week." And I'm like, "What the hell? Like, are you recording in your sleep?" And I mean, again, he doesn't have kids. He's that's my excuse for everybody who's putting out a lot of stuff. I'm like, they don't have kids. But no, he's a badass. He's hilarious. I love him.
I feel bad with the people I know that have kids because of my napping. Because I'll be like, oh man, it's like 2. Oh man, I've been up all day. I sent those emails. I need a nap.
I ate 2 breakfasts and 2 lunches. I guess it's time to go to sleep.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
man.
I know. I'm really jealous of all my my single friends quarantining right now. I'm like, oh my God, you can just watch Netflix all day and then create something and then go on a walk and whatever. It's fine.
Well, you do have to look at it I mean, first of all, when you were saying earlier that your definition of success and now you focus more on your family, well, of course, man, because I mean, when you think about it, what are you going to get a Grammy? Would you trade any of your kids for a Grammy?
Never.
And honestly, I've seen you on national television, and I don't even know if you'd go.
No.
If you got one, you know what I mean?
No, I probably wouldn't. It's too much work. I too much pizzazz. No, that's the thing. Is it's so funny because I think that there will always be this part of me that because I wanted to be. When I was a kid, I would watch the Grammys and be like, oh my God, that's going to be me. I mean, I was the kid who would write my speech out, I'd be like, I'd like to thank my mom. And, it's been this dream I've had since I was a kid to be a star. But it's eventually you start peeling back all the layers of what that means and what that is, and it's is it really, I don't really want that. I want to make great music. I want to collaborate with wonderful artists and put myself out there, but I don't want to have to trade my beloved life with my family and my children for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're lucky you have real foundation. And really being single is nuts. I mean, and there's no, you realize now on the dating scene, there's just you got nothing. Nothing.
Aww.
You could see someone at the grocery store, but you don't know what they look like under that mask. You know what I mean?
It's so funny. I was just thinking that this morning. I'm like, wow, how are people doing dates right now? Are they even able to date? Like on Tinder and all that stuff? Are you able, or Match.com? How are you able to make that happen? Do you just have to have a Zoom date?
That sounds terrible.
That does sound terrible.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Well, you know what? This isn't going to last forever, Johnny.
Thanks. I love
and when
how
you
nice
come out
you
of
are
this,
to me.
and when you come out of this, you'll be in prime shape,
At first, I thought it was funny that I was eating so much, and I put on a couple pounds. But then it gets like 16, and you're like, what the hell have I done?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Just do you walk? Do you
every day?
Go exercise?
Now, I mean, I was letting go of the walking, but now I'm doing it every day.
Okay.
I changed my ways.
Yeah, I feel like if you start getting active again, it'll shed. You'll be good. Yeah.
What else? There's a lot of stuff I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
One of them is you and Chris Searles. When I was saying I've seen you on TV, and I don't even know if you'd go to the Grammys. There was a sort of unaffectedness when they would talk to you when you were on The Voice. That's the same as when who was it? Oh, it was Abra Moore. I think Chris Searles was playing with Abra Moore, and they were on Regis and Kathy Lee.
Oh my God.
And then Regis came, I was like, "Oh, you're a phenomenal drummer. How are you doing?" And like Chris was like leaning with his chin on his fist.
That's how he does. Yeah,
And
he does.
he just kind of looked up and goes like this, like nodded his head to Regis. He was like, "It's the morning. I don't need this from you guys right now."
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It is. It's that whole like show business side of things is just so bizarre. Yeah. Sometimes as a DJ, I feel like I kind of have to do that because there's days where I feel like total crap or haven't gotten any sleep, and I still have to sound like pleasing to people, and I still have to like kind of make sure that I'm not like, "Hey, how's it going? This is a new song by Jason Isbell," or whatever, like. So every now and then I feel kind of actressy when I'm a DJ,
Sure.
but at least like I can still kind of exude my general laid back demeanor. I don't have to be super peppy, peppy girl. I just, that's not me. I can't do that. So
I like that demeanor. You should keep it like whatever it is you're doing is great.
oh,
Plus,
thanks,
you have
man.
a fantastic voice.
Oh, thank you. You're sweet.
Thank you. Do you interview people on your show?
I have before.
Yeah,
I haven't done it in a long time, but I did when I first started. I asked them if I could do some interviews for my vinyl show. I would invite like guest musicians to come on and bring like their favorite vinyl record or something, and we'd talk about it. And it was super fun. I really enjoyed it. But then we stopped doing it. And anyway, we've talked about doing some during the pandemic, like doing some live kind of like on our like Insta story, doing like a live feed
Sure.
sort of interview. Again, it's just like, we need to kind of come together and have a meeting about it and make it happen. Cause I actually really enjoy interviewing people. I like being on the other side of the mic. It's fun. So
It is really fun.
you're really good at it. It's hard though.
Thank
It is
you.
hard.
It is hard.
Kevin Connor, I talked to Kevin about it because I was so freaked out. One of my the first South by Southwest where I was having to interview artists that, like they were doing the live performance during our Sun Radio sessions, and I would have to like talk to them a little bit in between
yeah.
songs. I got really nervous about that. And Kevin was like, it's just a conversation. Just treat, you're a musician. Just
Yeah.
like a conversation. But I had to do Edie Brickell, and I'm like a huge Edie Brickell fan. And it's funny because I knew like all of her band, it's like Brad
Right,
Hauser
right.
and the whole, and John Bush and everybody, but Matt Hubbard. But Edie's kind of, she's kind of weird, and she like doesn't like to talk about certain things and stuff. So like I like right before I was about to interview her, her manager ran over and was like, don't talk to her. I can't even remember what it is now, but she was like, don't mention this and this and this. And I was like, oh my God, I just kind of froze up. So I was like, so anyway, and I felt like such a dork, but it's definitely, it's an art form that you have to develop. You're really great at it. Kevin Connor's
Thanks.
really great. There's, I feel like just the more you do it, the better you get at it, so.
I just realized that earlier this year you interviewed me from that position, and you were great. Remember?
Wait.
Sun Radio. Isn't it weird how it just all kind of floats away? Yeah, I totally forgot about that. In my notes, I didn't go like, hey, great interview
Wait.
with me.
Where were we? Wait, what?
We were at Sun
Oh,
Radio
yes.
at Warro's in the garden.
Yes, that's right. Oh my God. How did I forget? That feels like a lifetime ago, Johnny. That is insane.
I think that was in January or February.
I think you're right. You're right. Yeah. I think
Wow.
you're right. That was fun. I love that Warro's Texas Radio Live thing because it feels very natural and laid back and stuff. I don't know. I feel like that works for me. But yeah, there's certain instances where I freeze up and I'm like, oh my God, what should I ask them? But and you're just fun to interview because you're my friend. So I feel like we can just shoot the shit, so.
Obviously. I have no
Yeah.
format to this thing. I have to tell you, I had an Edie Brickell experience.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, some of those guys have been trying. Like I'm not always, but I'm like, hey man, if she ever wants to come
Yeah.
on my show, if she ever
Yeah.
wants me to help her in her career and get her on my show, I'll be more than happy to. But I've done the guys, and then I did Kenny Withrow,
Oh, I love Katie.
and I did it at what's the big rehearsal place, the big stage.
St. Elmo. That's a stage.
No.
It's,
The
not
one
St.
that's the one that's out in Mueller.
The film stage, the Austin film, like
No, but
or
there's
is
a
that
rehearsal
what it is?
place out there too, but it's for really famous people.
Sound stage or something
like that. So
I know you're talking
they
about.
were filming some stuff there for something online or something, and so I went and did this interview with Kenny, and then he was like, "Oh, hey, will you stick around for a little while? Edie will be here, and then you can meet her, and maybe this whole thing will go down." And so she comes in, and nobody introduces me to her.
Oh God.
So
That's
she's kind of
awkward.
like talking to all these people, and she's looking at me, and I'm just kind of like sitting there eating some of their snacks on the thing. I've got my feet on the table. What an asshole. So I'm sitting there doing this whole like, yeah, whatever, man. And then I decide I'm going to get up and say, hey. So I get up, and I'm like, hey. And she goes, oh, yeah, hey, thanks for all your work. She thought I was a PA. And then no one corrected her. Like, it was like, oh, no, this is our friend Johnny. Everyone just stood there like nothing.
That's messed up, man. That
Yeah.
is messed up. I'm sorry,
So-
Johnny. That's
All
messed
those
up.
dudes. Hauser.
Right. I
Yeah.
can see them not saying anything because they're all just kind of spacey dudes. So they're probably just
Yeah.
like, whatever, like, yeah.
At first, I kind of almost thought they were like, oh, let's see how long she'll think he's a PA when she asks him for something. And he's like, look, man, I'll get you the chips, but I don't work here like that.
That's so funny. I know I got a little bit of an easier in with her because I was pregnant at the time when I was interviewing her, and she was really sweet because she's a mom too. She was like, oh, how far along are you? And so we kind of got to break the ice through talking about baby. And then I was like, by the way, I'm a huge freaking fan of yours. Can I get a picture with you? And I'm about to interview you. So anyway,
We
yeah,
also have a radio station. That's a
Yeah.
good way to get people on.
it
there.
is. It is.
So are you were doing some live streams? Are you vacationing from? Thanks for taking the time to do the interview in the middle of your
absolutely.
vacay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a work vacay. It's not like super hardcore vacay. It's all good. I can always make time for you, Johnny.
Thanks.
I do want to do another live stream. I've been bad about it because I have been on, a little bit on vacation mode and just wanting to take advantage of beautiful Washington, but I will return for some live streams probably in August. I'm going to schedule some and actually promote them and try to make them. I feel like a couple months ago, just like I was a few in and I decided to get I was doing them from Cosmic, which was really cool.
Yeah,
When
that was
Cosmic
awesome.
closed, it was beautiful. Then Cosmic opened. So it was really, I did one while it was open and it felt kind of weird because I was like, just this random girl playing guitar over by a waterfall with a computer. And I feel like people were like, is she playing to us? Or is she anyway? And Greg showed up and he started talking to me really loud, Greg.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. So I started doing them in my closet. And even though it wasn't as beautiful, it allowed me to geek out a little bit more on the audio. And I plugged in a mixer and now you can hear reverb and I can play my electric and it's really fun. So I'm going to start doing those again in August, to be announced, TBA. So yeah, definitely. I also want to do something kind of thematic with them too, to where it's not just hey, here's a bunch of my songs that I always play for you. I kind of want to maybe do some theme shows where I learn some covers or I play a brand new song,
Right,
because it does start to get kind of like this, it was just me in my closet again playing my 10 songs.
I
that you
know.
hear,
I know.
it feels lame. It feels lame. So, and people are so sweet and supportive. It's the same 20 people show up every time and tip
Right.
me, and it's very sweet, but, I want to do something different with it, so yeah.
That's the same feeling I had. Yesterday we did a skyrocket thing, from 1 to 1, but it was
I saw
like
that.
a corporate
Right. I
live
saw
stream
some post
thing.
about that. Yeah. Okay.
And it's even weirder, playing in a party band to nobody.
To nobody. God.
But they liked
that's
it,
annoying.
and I guess
Yeah.
it sounded good and it looked good.
I'm sure it did. You guys are always sound amazing. Who's doing some cool stuff is Bud's recording service. Do you know the Greyhounds, Andrew
Yep.
and Anthony?
Mhm.
They've got a cool little studio with their friend Sam over on the east side, Bud's recording service, and they've been doing these awesome live streams from there. Tamika did one, and somebody else, I'm blanking. They reached out to me, and I think I'm going to try to get the band together if they're down and do one. Maybe in late August or something like that, early September. I'm going to reach out to them because it actually sounds and looks really good. It's and it's cool. It's at a recording studio, so I miss playing with my band so much,
Yeah.
It's I bet that felt good to play with Skyrocket, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it felt real good.
Cathartic. Yeah.
Yeah, it was real loud and it was fun. Yeah,
was real
I
loud.
mean, there's not been loudness.
That's so true.
I recorded
feel
that song with Gabe, and Chipman came in to play drums, and he was like, "Hey, I don't know if you want to lay on the floor by there because I'm going to be hitting my snare." And I was like, "No, I just want to be next to live drums being played again."
Want to hug your drums.
Yeah.
I know it. going to be pretty jarring. I feel like when we first go into live music again, because it's going to be like, whoa, like
Yeah.
sound, you know? So,
Dude,
yeah.
I have not gone 2 weeks without a gig since 1990
That's
or
crazy.
89.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is real crazy. It's weird. And now I sit in here and sing to my phone.
We all do.
I do. I know. I know. It's so weird.
I have so many voice memos on my phone.
Well, there's just also like with the live streaming, like, what am I going to play like tracks and dance and sing? I don't really know what I'm just like, look, this is the best. Like this.
Yeah. I know. It's funny. I've been poking around and watching other people's live streams just to see like what everybody's doing. And some people definitely have that shit like dialed in and they do have backing tracks and all that. But I feel like everybody's got their style and what works for them, you know, and it's, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I could pull off the backing track thing, you know? I don't know. Anyway.
Some people can.
Yeah. So,
Suzanna, we've covered a lot of stuff. I thank you for talking to me. Even though I don't see you a lot, I care very deeply for you and for Paul. And I miss you.
So mutual. I miss you too, man.
And I'd like
so
to
much.
I'd like to hang out when we hang out. That's one thing. Throughout this whole thing, I've realized that I do appreciate my friends and community a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know I've had these moments where I've been like, why didn't I hang out with people more? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I kept saying, oh yeah, man, let's hang out. And then we never do, you know? And I'm like, when this thing is over, I am like making good on appointments to hang out with people, you know, because it's just, we took it for granted, you know?
Yeah.
So
I remember one day seeing you and Lulu across the lake walking with your friends when Taylor and Dylan were both still alive.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That feels like a lifetime ago. I know.
I'm telling
Johnny,
you.
thank you for having me, man. You're so sweet.
Thank
I
you.
really, I love what you're doing right now. I think it's awesome that you're seeking so many different people out to share. I think it's great. So
I love what you're doing right now. Oh, and I want to remind people that if they go and buy Good Problems on Bandcamp, and I'll say this in the intro too, what percentage goes to the ACLU?
Half, basically.
Half.
It's
Wow.
like a $2 single, so I'll give $1 to the ACLU. Yep.
That's great.
And it's awesome because some people have been giving like $10 for it, and so it's like I'm able to make a little $5 donation to ACLU, and I give to them every month anyway. They're one of my favorite nonprofit organizations.
Me
so.
too. It's an important nonprofit.
It is, yeah,
All
totally.
right.
So,
Well, tell Paul I love him
I will.
and I miss him, and
I will.
I'm enjoying keeping up with you guys at least like on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll hang again. If you're feeling up for it, come by Cosmic at some point. They're open and being very safe, very safe. So yeah,
I need to do that because I have been in my apartment and to the grocery store, and that's it.
Hey, that's awesome. I commend you for that. But if you ever feel
I'm going
crazy,
nuts. Yeah.
If you feel crazy, I will say Cosmic is a really great way to feel normal while feeling very safe, because you can just stay outside,
Yep.
go in real quick to get your drink, come out, and it's like you can just be like, oh my God, people, while you're sipping on your drink. And it's
they're
great. So
it was socially distanced before. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was very well set up for this. So anyway,
all right.
thank
Well,
you, Johnny.
you.
I love you.
Love you
Be
too.
well, my friend. Okay.
Tell me one more time, who are you working for?
So comforting to talk to dear friends during this time. Honestly, I was in a bad space when I talked to Suzanna, and that hour that we just spent talking totally straightened me out. Yeah, I was feeling low, man. I was flying low. But sometimes the sound of a good friend's voice and that laughter you have just with friends, that's one thing I've always enjoyed since the very first episode of this podcast, is laughing with my friend Suzanna Choffel. Her new song, Good Problems. If you get it on Bandcamp, proceeds go to ACLU. Do it up, man. Go to SuzannaChoffel.com. Fantastic, fantastic getting to talk to her. Great to hear from her. Check her out on the radio, Sun Radio. She is a fantastic DJ on there with, of course, that great late night AOR rock lady voice that I enjoy so much. I find it soothing. I find it very soothing. All right, Suzanna Choffel. Get out there, check out SuzannaChoffel.com. Don't forget that you can, while you're out there checking out SuzannaChoffel.com, you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find podcasts, be it Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Apple Podcast, Overcast, anywhere you find podcasts. This week we're dropping 5 shows. So 5 shows this week, I know. Whew. All right, let's get back to this beautiful song, Good Problems, by the amazingly talented Suzanna Choffel. Have a great week, whatever it is you're doing. Take care of yourself. And let's get down.
To fight for the rights of their daughters and their sons. It's not good. No, it's just plain bull. To not help your brother when you so easily could. And it's not kind what you do behind closed doors. Tell me one more time now, who you working for? Tell me one more time now, who are you working for? Who are you working for? It's just plain rude to not help your brother when you so easily could. Oh, and it's not kind what you do behind closed doors. Tell me one more time now, who are you working for? Tell me one more time now, who are you working for? Who are you working? Who are you working for? Who are you working? Who